Hi everybody, it's Charles again with an entry for the 12th of May. It was a Monday. Um, in this video, basically, I'm going to talk about my name. Basically, I've thought about, and I have ideas about, names in general, like how I do, they're a label for you. Because when you say, like, my name, Charles, you know, obviously there are many Charles in the world, but when you say like Charles, I look because that is, the label for me. So, this might be, something behind me might be, glass, phone, something like that. Those are labels for that. So obviously, a label for me is, man or like, male, but a label specifically for me is Charles. Even more specific is Charles Bruce. Even more specific is Charles Armeo Bruce. And then, you could use other labels and, fucking, Charles Armeo Bruce, 30-year-old. But those are just more, 30-year-old is not really, it's not a label for me. Well, it is in a way, but it's more a descriptor for me, a descriptive characteristic of me. So then you start to become like obviously Charles, it's descriptive of me because it's my name, but it's not really like a descriptive characteristic. Like Charles is not the same as tall, because tall is like it's considered like what is it, an adjective? Yeah, it's considered an adjective because it's a descriptive word of me. Whereas Charles is not a descriptive word of me; it's a label of me. So I mean, I could get into that for a while, but fucking. Um, I'll say that for a different video. Basically, I'm going to talk about how for many years of my life I went by the name Charlie. Charlie. I don't do that EY bullshit. Nah, fuck that. I did the LIE, and then I did it through up until like my first year of college, I think, and then I did Charlie throughout all throughout high school, and then I started a new school because I went to college, and on my birth certificate and in all of my forms and applications it said Charles. So the first couple of times people called me Charles, I was just like, hey, that sounds pretty good. Fucking, I'll stick with it. And so I just never, like it's Charlie. So then fucking, I was just like, Charles. I started going by Charles. I like the way it sounded. It sounded, I'd grown sick of the way that Charlie had sounded because Charlie's too much, in my opinion, it's too much like, I don't want to say low brow, but it's too much like, yo, Charlie, let's go out for brews after work or something. Or it's like, yo, Charlie, did you see that Knicks game? They suck or something like that. So I'm not trying to say that, Charles is a lot more higher class and, everybody named Charlie is low brow, but just the way that it sounds to me, and in my opinion of hearing it, that Charles sounds like a little bit fancier, I should say. That might make me a douchebag, it might make me a douchey. That's a good possibility. But I mean, that's just the way that I like it now. Also, for some reason, Charlie spawns a shitload of like you know camaraderie nicknames, like lowbrow nicknames. Like you get Chipper, you get Chucky, you get Chuck, you get Chuckster, you get the Chuckmeister, and it's just like you don't get that shit with Charles for some reason. I'm not sure why, but I got kind of I'm trying to I'm getting ready for a big presentation in school, and somebody's like, "Hey, what's up, Chuckster?" And it's just like, thanks for ruining my concentration and like fucking you know, fuck it up like my, you know, like the tone that I wanted for the serious presentation that I was about to give. So I did get kind of tired of the nicknames and everything like that. I wasn't like, my name is Charles, or fucking, it's Charlie, fucking, don't call me that or anything. I was just like, fucking, new school and, more coming of age now. I'm in college now. I'm more trying to be more independent. And so fucking, when people started calling me Charles, I was just like, fuck, I'm just gonna go with it. So now that's what I go by. I mean, obviously, if somebody calls me Charlie, like a family member, obviously I've been going by that shit for fucking, 20 years, or I was for, 20, 25 years, so I know that they can't just fucking, stop it like that. So obviously, if they call me that, I'm gonna fucking respond. Plus, it's also second nature. I mean, I'm still not at the point where somebody says Charlie and I just don't fucking look. I mean, I'm getting there, but I mean, with people at work or friends now, I prefer to be called Charles, and I think most of them have been with me since I started going by Charles, so they're used to calling me Charles. We had one manager at work who separated from her husband or something like that, or finally changed her name after separating, and so we had to switch what we were calling her, and I had learned her name one specific way, and so it was very difficult for me to make the transition. I was constantly calling her by the old name, and I mean, she wasn't a dick about it, so thankfully she understood, and so fucking eventually it just I was able to that part of my mind was just finally able to fucking make the switch until finally fucking the new name was second nature to me rather than the old name, and so I didn't make the mistake anymore. But yeah, I mean, basically that's pretty much why I decided to go with Charles. I mean, I understand that changing your name is difficult for a lot of people that have known you for years and years, and they're still bound to call you by the different name. And I understand that for a lot of people, Charles and Charlie might not seem like much of a difference, or they might think fucking I'm a douchebag because of the reasons that I gave for wanting to change what people call me. But I mean, people should be allowed to determine what they want to be called. Obviously, it's kind of fun when you give one of your friends a weird nickname and then it gets stuck on them for a while. Like, but I mean, that's kind of more in good fun versus that's more of an expression of camaraderie and jokey and fun and good times between the two of you, rather than just kind of antagonizing them and well, I guess it is if you're kind of joking with them. So they give you I remember in an episode of How I Met Your Mother, Barney Stinson was trying to pick up this one girl and she called him Swarley instead of Barney. So he hated the name, and so of course all of his friends kept calling him Swarley and stuff like that. So it was kind of antagonistic, but it wasn't in bad spirits. They didn't mean it mean in a mean way. It was just kind of joshing somebody, kind of teasing them, ribbing them a little bit and stuff like that. I mean, that's what the nicknames were for me in high school, but just it became so that the nicknames started to actually replace my name. So I was Charlie 20% of the time, and I was Chipper and Chuckster fucking 85% of the time. So it's just I had to put an end to these nicknames, and then fucking while I'm at it, fucking after I learned that Charles sounded better than Charlie, I was just fucking I'm gonna go with Charles from now on. And so that's the story behind me switching my names over. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't get heated if somebody calls me Charlie. If somebody fucking calls me Chipper or something like that, it's not my favorite thing in the world but I mean, I look to see who does it. Some people obviously just do it to kind of get to play a little joke on me or something like that. Some people do it to get a slight rise out of me, and some people do it because they just fucking being a douchebag and they don't want to call you by your given name, so they just say whatever the hell they think will get you aggravated or something like that. But I mean, most of those occasions, that's in through fun. I mean, obviously, I don't wear my temper on my sleeve, nor do I wear my emotions on my sleeve. So even if somebody calls me an asshole, it's just gonna be fucking whatever. So when somebody calls me Chipper or something like that, it's even less of an emotional response than fucking an asshole. So. So if I can fucking whatever it's an asshole, imagine what I could do to Chipper or fucking some weird nickname like that. It barely registers with me anymore. So fucking, I mean, that's, I guess I don't give them what they want, you know what I'm saying? It's like if you fucking, oh my gosh, don't call me that, they're gonna fucking continuously do it because they know that it bothers you. But, if it doesn't, but then if you pretend it doesn't bother you, then, they're probably gonna stop to do it. But if they know that you're pretending that you're just pretending, then they're going to continue to do it. But if it actually doesn't bother you, then they're gonna stop out of sheer boredom. So, I mean, that's pretty much what the level that I'm at now. I mean, some people still do it to, because they think it's funny, but for me, it's just, I don't give a shit. Fucking, I'm at the stage now where, for the most part, somebody calls me something other than Charles, I just, I don't hear it as much, or I don't hear it. You know, like I said, sometimes in a quick moment, like, oh, I'll turn quick, but then I'll realize that they didn't call me the right name and I just won't respond. So I might turn, but then I won't respond. So, I mean, it kind of forces people to, call you by your name. I mean, it's kind of like if somebody's like, hey, asshole, and then you're just like, what? It doesn't mean you go by the name asshole. It just means you are fucking, a sound over there just fucking, for whatever reason, just grabbed your attention. So, I mean, that's pretty much what, calling me by a nickname is. I mean, fucking calling me, Chipper or Chuck probably have the same register as like, hey, buddy, fucking just kind of that shit. I mean, I don't identify with those names, but I mean, it's still fucking, I understand that there's still, kind of words used to fucking grab my attention. But like I said, I don't fucking, on my taxes, I don't write Chipper Bruce or fucking Chucky Bruce or something like that. So, fucking, I guess I'm making fucking mountains out of molehills, probably. But I mean, like I said, when you're, trying to do something that you feel is important or something, and then, people don't, they try and josh you so much by calling you by, some nickname that they think is hilarious that you don't really, like anymore. I mean, that's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of, that's their attempt to make like a shitty joke at your expense. And you can, like I said, you can obviously either get heated or you can just like, whatever the fuck you say, like, I don't give a shit. And that's pretty much the state that I'm at. I mean, granted, I mean, fucking, these people are my friends, so I don't get heated at them. Fucking, if some stranger on the street knows that my name is Charlie and he's just like, hey, Chucky, I'm just like, what? Like, who the fuck are you? Like, I don't register. I'm not gonna fucking, I'm not gonna get heated or anything like that. But I mean, these people are friends, so sometimes they'll do it to josh me, but fucking, you could play along or you could fucking ignore it. But most of those pretty much end up with like they understand that I don't enjoy it, and it's not the name that I go by. Like fucking, like like some of my friends have like fucking red hair, and I could go, hey, redhead, or something like that. And maybe the first couple of times, they'll think it's funny, but then afterwards, it's just like, yeah, fucking, this is my real name. Fucking, like, call me this instead. And fucking, so it's just a sign of mutual respect when you call somebody by what they want to be called. I mean, that being said, some people prefer nicknames. Some people fucking have the little, like, fucking, the formal name, and then they got, like, the little nickname, like, fucking William like Goldstein, and then he's just like, I prefer Bill, and then he's just like, all right, fucking Bill, and then fucking, But I mean, due to the fact that a name is kind of a label for a specific person, they should, when it comes to like what they're normally called, it should be something that they enjoy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, fucking, nicknames and shit are good for fucking job, or like, unwanted nicknames like Swarley, the example that I used for Barney Stinson, is good for joshing people and stuff like that. But you don't want to drop that shit as like his wedding or fucking, fucking, when he's like, when his son's getting baptized or something, you want to keep it respectful and, call him what he wants to be called or call her what she wants to be called. So just fucking, to me, a good name, calling somebody what they want to be called is a sign of respect and fucking, it's a sign of, that, you deem them fucking, valuable enough that you you give in to their desires a little bit. I'm not to say that fucking, you know, you concede to their every wish and all that shit, but you know, if somebody means enough in your life and you know their name, you fucking should call them by that name. And that's what fucking I believe a name is. And that's why I hope that people deem me valuable enough that they call me by my name and they try and, they call me by something that, I actually enjoy or I actually seek to be called, But I mean, fucking, who's to say, tomorrow it might be different. I'm not gonna fucking, excuse me. I'm not gonna change what I want to be called tomorrow. I'm not gonna change my name. But I'm saying tomorrow I might meet somebody who fucking, seems fit to fucking, break out all the old nicknames, fucking just root in the back of the closet and just fucking scrunge around until they can fucking pull out that Chuckster and then fucking they try and throw that out at me a couple of times, just like some fucking, tennis serves, just fucking. And then when they see that I either fucking, I'm not playing the game or I just fucking lacklusterly lob it back, I think they'll get the picture. But fucking, occasionally some people just have to be fucking, I'm not going to say schooled because it's obviously not fucking, I'm not fucking like, fucking don't call me that and like fucking, really like trying to discipline them. I'm just like fucking, I just ignore them. But I think you get the picture by now. Anyways, fucking, I gotta stop saying the F word. Anyways, thank you for listening. If you have any questions or comments, you want to get in touch with me, I just said the F word again. Those that know me know how to get in touch with me. And if you don't, you can just, leave a message on my board or shoot me an email or something like that. Anyways, thanks for listening. See you tonight.